Hey guys, we're live. Can you hear me? I've got some comments and some emails from you guys. And if anybody's got anything else to say or add to the shortages, email ninjanation at gmail. Ninjanationreport at gmail.com. Um, we're going to start doing this because the best news we can get is news from your friend, from the like-minded person, from the community. That is going to be, in my opinion, and actually a lot of us, we think the same way. And you can get all the news from Zero Hedge and Wall Street Journal and Yahoo News. I get it all the time, but from somebody that thinks like us, that's in the community, that sees something and says, "Hey, this is what's happening right here." That's amazing. There's no replacing that. So if you have anything to add, and to put this in context, I called a friend of mine. He's up in Colorado, kind of touching base with people. And I said, "You noticing anything around you?" He's like, "No, not really. I haven't been doing much." And so I said, "Well, let's just visit a while." And he said, "Man, hay's getting expensive. There's a shortage of hay." He started telling me all the things that were going on around him. And, it doesn't, you don't think it's a big deal, but that's something that nobody else knows. I've actually got it wrote down here. So, hey, everybody. Aunt T is now a moderator, and she is going to be putting together a newsletter that has to do with this. I'm not sure how it's going to work out yet. I'm going to get straight into it. I got a super chat already. We need community that will stand up for each other regardless of consequences. We need continue real community. I agree 100%. Thank you for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. I want to get through this news because I really do, man. Super chats are awesome. Thank you. I want to try to get through what I've got, because the people that are here to get the news and the news only, they can get that and go. So thank you for being here. Hit the like button if you haven't already. I appreciate it. Okay, the first one. I've got them printed out all over the place. I'm going to start with American Prepper Girl. So there's been a lot of people talking about their milk's going bad like 2 days after they buy it. The chicken breast are rancid in 2 days. Yesterday, I had some wild salmon. It was like $21 or $22 for 2 slabs of wild salmon. They've been in the refrigerator for 2 days. I went to grill them, and they were no good. They smelled awful. And something's going on, and I think American Prepper Girl is on top of it, or she's got some insight. If you haven't seen her, go to American Prepper Girl. She's got a YouTube channel, and she's putting out some really good information. I spent years in the HVAC industry, and during the pandemic, a lot of these coolers / freezers needed monthly maintenance, condensing coil cleanings, repair freon leaks, adding freon, etc., and didn't receive it. So a lot of the coolers that they use to store our food, they didn't receive the maintenance they needed during the downtime about 2 or 3 years ago. That would be par for the course that they're starting to break down now. Over time, these machines use more energy to run and will eventually kick the bucket. Unfortunately, there are not enough workers in the trades anymore, so workers go after the work that would bring more money, like a new unit, working on a new unit, installing new units, not as opposed to the scheduled maintenance that does not pay that much. It's nasty. I get it. New construction is always better. This is why we are seeing coolers break down everywhere. That could be part of the reason our goods that we're buying, that we're spending really good money on, are going bad. I've got some super chats. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it, buddy. That's awesome. Okay, there's Doug. I tried to get Rotella T6 oil at 2 different Walmarts, as well as oil for my car, and both stores were out. This is in northern Colorado. I have also have a friend that had his car's gas tank drilled to get the gas out by a thief. Now he's got almost $2,000 bill to replace the tank. I brought up locking gas caps. Somebody else brought that up. I thought it was a good idea, but is it better to let people just go ahead and get the fuel? Maybe. But here's the thing. If your car is sitting next to another car and you've got a locking gas cap and they don't, more than likely, who knows? But I would imagine they would go to the easier one or move to the next one. Now, here's another thing. Just because you have a locking gas cap or a car that doesn't have a locking gas cap, they might still drill the tank because some of these cars are extremely hard to get a siphon hose in. I don't know if you've ever had any experience siphoning fuel, but it's hard to do on some vehicles, and they might drill the tank anyway. So use your own discretion on that. If you're in a big parking lot, they might just go to the next car. If it's the only one sitting there, they might drill your tank. If drilling the tank's what they're into, they might do it anyway. So that's good information. Shane, I also have gotten food that was bad already before buying it just 2 days before. I bought 2 bags of chicken drumsticks that were frozen. This is the second one. Cooked one the same day. It was fine. Then I put the other one in the bag in the fridge and went to cook it 2 days later. And as soon as I opened it, I could tell the meat was rotten by the smell of it. Took 2 days for the smell to get out of the house. That's crazy because I've eaten some chicken that smelled a little funky. A lot of times you can wash it off, but if it stunk your house up that bad, it's pretty, you might as well get rid of it. And again, we're going back to there's some more in here about neglect of the food that the workers are not really doing possibly what they're supposed to be doing. Thanks, guys, for being here. I'm going to get to you guys in just a second. I really want to get this news out. Okay, JoJo Baker. Just go back from the grocery store. The over-the-counter remedies or meds were almost completely gone. The shelves were almost bare. Montana. Walter, I hope you're all well in this insane time. Just feels like we're playing the limbo bar game with metals. He's talking about precious metals. Wondering where we will bottom out during this massive manipulation. Demand for physical is high, supply is low, but price is still dropping more and more. Yes. My local dealer has very little to sell at $7 to $10 over spot for bars and rounds and some eagles, but they do not have constitutional at all. We have constitutional, and our buffaloes are under $4 an ounce. But some things, like we had some people call today, and they wanted a certain bar, and they didn't have it. So you're right. The inventory's low. Prices are the kind of same. I figure the premiums are going to start going up, but, we'll see. We're in Thunderdome. Anything goes. Okay. Next. This person said, okay, this is going back to the food, the bad food we're getting. Something to consider, and this was a comment. I can tell you, as one who worked at Walmart in San Diego, a very packed at all times Walmart, they made sure the people that stocked the shelves knew that anything frozen and refrigerated needs to go back inside the proper storage space within 30 minutes to be allowed to be stored on the store floor displays. For example, if you take a pallet of meat out of the deep freezer in the warehouse, then it needs to be in the fridges in the store off the pallet entirely within 30 minutes or less to be safe to sell. To be safe, we always had 2 able-bodied males doing the meat and dairy, considering weight, height, temperature, and overall work conditions. To achieve that goal is really hard. Okay. Can you imagine the shortage of good employees? There might not be a shortage of employees, but there's some warm bodies. But to get people that actually care about the job show up and really try to do this kind of work, because that is hard work. Stocking shelves is miserable. I mean, that's a lot, especially if it's up here. But that very well could be it. It could be people just neglect. And see, what happens is, and I know this with deer meat, if you process a deer and you don't treat the meat right and keep it cold like it's supposed to be kept, it will degrade faster after you unthaw it. So, you can mess its life up early in, and then later on, it won't last as long after you unthaw it. So very, very possible, man. Thank you for the insight. Okay. Annie. Now this is a happy story. We don't always have to talk doom and gloom. I really hate it. But that's what's going on. Check it out though. Mrs. Annie's in the comments all the time. I really appreciate her. She said, I helped an elderly couple who saw putting some things back. There was no junk, just necessities. I told the cashier, please check them out with everything. I paid for their bill. And guess what? They said, God bless you. And I said, he does. That's why I can help you. Only brought cash. So when my total was complete, I had $1 left. God is good. I love those kind of stories. Good job, Mrs. Annie. Okay, James sent me an article. Somebody detonated an explosive device and it damaged one of the Georgia Guidestones. If you do not know what the Georgia Guidestones is, this is old news now. The Economic Ninja covered it earlier today. I shared the video on my YouTube channel. You need to figure out what that is. I don't want to talk about it too much because if you've ever been slapped down from YouTube and they won't tell you why, and the only thing is you told the truth, you try to stay away from these really taboo subjects. And it's on you to figure out why this is taboo. You need to really dig into it and spend just a little bit of time and check out the Georgia Guidestones and how setting an explosive off that damaged them is probably a really good way to shine some light on what's going on and what's been happening over the years. I know the Economic Ninja is really, he knows a lot more about it than me. I have just recently been digging into it deeply, and it's pretty nuts. So check that out for yourself, the Georgia Guidestones, and look at CERN while you're at it. Okay, this is really good from Matt, and I'm going to, I'll tell you what, I'll take a picture of the recipe. But he says when milk is starting to turn just past where you want to drink it, don't throw it out and make farmhouse cheese. He's got the instructions on exactly how to do it. I'll make a community post and I will post it and you can get it there. If you're a subscriber, it'll notify you, and it's heat the milk to 190, stir occasionally, He says it's really good, and it'll keep you from throwing away your milk, because if your milk's going to go bad in 2 days, you might as well make cheese out of it. I love cheese. And that, and the hay. All right, my buddy in Colorado was telling me about the hay shortage. They're telling them the guy I called in Colorado, Jamie, they're telling them to go ahead and get your hay now. So if you've got farm animals, get it now. It's not going to get any cheaper. That goes for most all of our food. I'd say all of it. Go ahead and get it. Pile it up. Suck the air out of it. Stick it on the back. Eat off the front. Put it on the back. That way when food gets short, you can, have your food and you can eat into it, and then maybe you'll find a little bit and you can put it on the back. You can kind of keep your allowance there. Now I'll get into some of these comments. That's it for the breaking news that I had in the email. If you do have any information, simple stuff that might not be that big of a deal to you, it might be a really big deal to somebody else. So email ninjanationreport@gmail.com and let the community know. I really appreciate you guys being here. Now, for everybody in the comments that's dropping bombs, I'm going to go back. I appreciate you guys. You're in the giving me super chats. Well, there's one. Prepping survival. Sam's Club in Georgia has 20-pound bags of black beans. That's awesome. MNJ, I'm glad to see you here. Time to get a lot more serious about raising meat rabbits. I've been putting that off. Still putting it off. Have trouble keeping up with the chickens. Yes. She says, so glad our meat is from local farms. Guys, I paid less than $4 a pound for a cow, processed, vacuum sealed, delivered. So I'm not saying you can do that now, but what I am saying is make a relationship with the farmer. You're going to come out better in every aspect. So you'll have it, it'll be there. Yes, you'll probably have to buy a freezer, but if one share Amazon will cover the cow and the freezer. Now, I haven't looked at it lately, but it'll be really close. Or maybe a calf. I usually get a calf. I actually get a calf and a half. We have some families that we help, and it's just it's money. It's actual money. And money is a commodity, something you can trade for something else. So, when we get through debasing our currency, you're going to be glad you had some food. And you'll beat the stock market. Probably. Never know. They're probably going to blow the top off of it. Okay. I hope they steal my gas. All right, let's see. I'm so behind, guys. Buying the stuff to make homemade laundry detergent is easy recipe. Of course, I can't remember. Okay, guys, this is, I'm not going to waste your time. There's some awesome comments here. Matter of fact, if I see some that I really need to talk about, I'll put them on my YouTube channel, or I'll put them in the next list. I'm gonna try to keep this stuff coming. So, like I said, bring me stuff that you see. It's important. And as the economy and civilization starts to implode, collapse, it is. I hate to do all that. It's gonna be bad. It's the worst. Well, it's not gonna be good. And as it gets worse, you're going to see the stuff I'm talking about. It's going to be more and more and more, and the information is going to be priceless. So, guys, have an awesome, awesome day. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm going to go through every one of these comments after I get off this live stream. Later.